Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Master Duel video for you, coming at you with some more Azamina Snake Eye Yummy. I know, I've been playing this deck a lot lately, but I really do enjoy it. It's probably just my new favorite deck right now. So, for this first game, we're actually going to be playing against Makonko. We did win the coin flip, so I didn't know I was against the going second deck, but for what it's worth, we would have been going first here pretty much no matter what. So, we're going to start with Bonfire for Poplar. Our opponent's going to Maxi, and of course we are going to fire off the Ash Blossom in retaliation. I will say that when it comes to both Maxi and Fuelos, those do end up being really, really good against our deck. Obviously, they're good against a lot of decks, but especially a deck like ours really doesn't have that many things it can end on. I guess here we have Deception, so we could make Azamina, Ilya, Sylvia, only giving them one draw, but it still obviously would not have been ideal. So here I am going to use Ash to search for Oak, because I haven't actually normal summoned yet, so I can go Oak and then revive the Poplar. Although I think I could have done this a little bit more efficiently, I don't know, but either way we're able to gain access to our Snake Eye bodies, and then we're actually going to tune the Linkuriboh with the Oak to make the Cupsy Yummy way. By doing the combo line this way, I'm actually kind of circumventing the Azamina and White Forest stuff. And the main reason I'm doing that with this hand is because I already opened Deception of the Sinful Spoils, right? So normally I would use the Yummy play to set up Rasila of the White Forest by synchroing a Yummy level 2 tuner with a Herald of the Arclight, and then that would let me get to Rasila, which would then get me LZ and LZ Azamina, and then I'd make Baron. However, the main reason to make Baron that way is to get access to your Azamina stuff with Deception of the Sinful Spoils. And again, I've already got that in my hand here anyway, so I don't really need to jump through all those hoops to be able to find it in this scenario. Even though this is one of those like long wombo combo line decks, it's actually pretty fluid in how you combo. It's very dependent on your opening hand, and while you don't necessarily have to memorize the turn 1 combo line off of just one card, it still really helps to know, because the combo lines for this deck are actually cyclical, right? What I mean by that is that if you start with Snake Eyes, they'll lead you into Yummy and then Azamina. If you start with Yummy, it'll lead you to Azamina stuff, and then you'll just do Snake Eye stuff anyway. Here I am going to end up making the Rasila anyway, just so I can use the Herald of the Arclight as a material. That way I can get access to the Illusion of Chaos. Now, I actually do have some plans to expand upon this deck even further, because what I would like to be doing in the future is, instead of using Illusion of Chaos to grab Magician Souls, because we can do that with Dark Magician of Destruction anyway, what I want to be doing is going into Mitsurugi. So I'm thinking of making yet another variant of this deck where I go up to 60 cards and add in Mitsurugi, maybe Fiendsmith or something, just depending on the extra deck, what that ends up looking like. But I absolutely adore these kinds of pile decks. To me, pile decks that make use of multiple archetypes and weave in between them like this does is the epitome of creativity in Yu-Gi-Oh! I know a lot of people really don't like this style of deck. It's often referred to as slop, but I think it's a pretty, I don't know. On one hand, I understand it, but I think that's a pretty unfair insult to kind of hurl, because again, to me, this is creativity, right? And I know a lot of people are just like, oh, but you descend on generic stuff. And it's like, yeah, I kind of have to, because I'm not locked into one archetype or, you know, only utilizing one archetype. To me, that's always just boring. Well, not always necessarily if the archetype itself is fun, but when you're on a one archetype deck, it feels to me like Konami has basically built my deck for me. It's like, here you go, here's your obvious end board you make, and etc., etc. But I like having to work for it. I like having to, you know, figure out the lines and seeing if I can improve upon what any one of these archetypes could do by themselves. All right, here we're gonna get hit with the Super Poly, and that is actually one of the most brutal aspects of having to play this deck in this meta. Super Poly is really, really popular right now, and as much as you'd like to, it's actually kind of hard to avoid having two of the same attribute on the field, even with this deck, so you do end up getting hit with the Super Poly a lot. However, here not only can Diabellstar revive so that our Silvera is still active, but we can just use Sprite Elf to revive the IP Masquerena as well. So our opponent's Super Poly in this case didn't actually end up really even doing anything. they're going to go for the Ohime effect. I'm going to use this opportunity to tag out my Cupsy Yummy Way. That way I can summon out my Yummy Snatchy and Cookie Yummy. And I'm going to summon a Cookie Yummy to the Sprite Elf Zone, so that way it can't be targeted, and then I'm just going to use Cookie Yummy in order to destroy their Dracostapelia. They can use the Dracostapelia on the Baron de Fleur, which is annoying, but ultimately not that big of a deal, because they've only got 2 cards left in hand anyway. And they can't even send cards from the deck to the graveyard thanks to my Herald of the Arclight. So they're going to end up conceding here. Didn't even make full use of that end board. We still had the bounces with the quick play spell. Obviously, at the same time, we'd be going into the Cookie Yummy Way to turn stuff face down. We have IP to go into SP. We have the Herald of the Arclight Omni Negate left. And we didn't even fire off the Maxi that was in our hand. Because Herald of the Arclight is in play, we can't send a Maxi from our hand to the graveyard. So that's why it was still in there. But as soon as, of course, as we Omni Negate them, then the Maxi will be ready to go. This deck is absolutely insane, the number of disruptions it can spit out. Again, the total number of disruptions here definitely exceeds any of these archetypes by themselves, which to me, again, has always been the epitome of creativity and what I love about deck building is figuring out lines like this. But let's go and take a look at our next replay. Okay, this person is going to be on Synchron Elf Note, which is actually a variant I do really want to try for that deck. Now, this is going to be another going first game. I will be the first to admit that going second is a little bit rough for this deck. It's definitely one of the bigger weaknesses because we don't have a lot of room for off engine. So as a result, we don't really get to play the off engine that we need to in order to be able to effectively counter turn 1 plays. Here I did misplay. I absolutely should have special summoned to Marshmallow before going into Bonfire, but I guess at the same time it doesn't really matter because Marshmallow is the only monster I would normal summon here anyway. I guess I could have begun with special summon Marshmallow and then Bonfire for Snake Eye Ash. That definitely would have been better, but at the same time, I don't like to show my opponent that I'm on both engines right away, if possible. I much prefer to, in a deck like this with multiple engines, I much prefer to begin with one and then go into the other. Because if you begin with only one, your opponent can never be 100% certain if that's all you're going to do or not, right? Like if I just do Snake Eye stuff and then they stop my Snake Eye stuff, I guess they'd be more inclined to use hand traps to stop my Snake Eye stuff. Whereas if I special Marshmallow and then go Bonfire for Snake Eye Ash, my opponent's obviously just going to wait until an opportunity where they can cut off both combo lines and not just the one. This mostly matters when playing around stuff like Nibiru, but it can definitely matter for stuff like Ash Blossom and Imperm too. Okay, so here we're just going to go for the Baron with the Cupsy Yummy Way plus the Flamberge. That, of course, will let me use the Flamberge effect to revive my Snake Eye monsters. Again, I actually think I could have played this combo out better. That's the other thing that I love about this deck is that it's really easy to look at a Wombo combo deck like this and call it skillless, which I've never really understood because, like, the number of lines and paths you have to be aware of for a deck like this is kind of insane, and also the reason why I keep misplaying it, because there's so many different ways to navigate it. But, I don't know, a lot of people are really, willfully or otherwise, just ignorant, I guess, of the process. And just choose to believe that because you end on a similar looking board every time, it's just really easy to do. Now here, I didn't even point this out as we were comboing, but we were under Droll and Lockbird. In certain hands, this card can be really rough, but because we had as many, extenders and starters as we did, I was actually still able to end on Elf, Herald, IP, and Baron de Fleur. Basically, the only thing we're not going to end on here that we would normally have is the Ilias Sylvia, because we don't get to search off of, like, Deception, right? But even then, I can still revive the yummy Synchro monster from my graveyard during my opponent's turn here with the Elf as well. So, getting Droll and Lockbird, and only, that's a weird word to say like that, Droll and Lockbirded, getting hit with the Droll and Lockbird really only cost us 1 negate. Kind of insane when you think about it that way. They're going to begin with normal summon Medius. I'm going to activate Elf for the Lollipo Yummy Way in response. Or was it the Cupsy? No, it was the Lollipo. Okay. and they're going to summon the Elf Note Power Patron. And they concede right off the bat as soon as I activate IP effect, because they can see the scope of how I'm able to interact, right? Like, obviously from here, I would go IP into SP. I think I would definitely banish the Elf Note Power Patron. That way they wouldn't get to synchro summon it away later and then use the effect to search, right? So they'd only have Medius the Pure in play. My next interruption I would have tried to have used if they special summon an Elf Note monster from hand, whether it's Tinia, Lucina, or Fortuna, I would have gone into the Cookie Yummy way, and then I could have turned both Medius and the Elf Note monster face down. And I think even if my opponent had more extenders beyond that, that right there probably would have been enough to stop them. This also completely ignores the fact that I still have 2 Omni Negates on the field. So, again, just prime example of why I love this deck. Through Droll and Lockbird, by the way. That was all through Droll and Lockbird. Let's watch the next game now. Alright, this one is going to be up against Drytron Mitsurugi. It's really like mostly a Mitsurugi deck, just using the Drytrons as a small package. Although, I think I only ended up seeing the Drytron stuff. I think. Let's see. Beginning with the Diabell Star here. We're going to activate, of course, the Poplar also gets to get put into the Spell and Trap Zone. I could have begun with normal summon Poplar here as well. Going to Ash Blossom their Fulos. But yeah, I really like the idea of getting the Poplar on board now, so that way I can send it with the OSS and then also need to revive off of normal summon Oak. And this also keeps the Diabell Star in play to turn into the Dark Magician of Destruction. Alright, so we're going to go Ash for Poplar effect in order to summon. Here is the Dark Magician. No reason not to do this now. It's also so nice that we can turn the Diabell Star into a level 8 monster so easily. Really, really helps for synchro plays too. Alright, there's the Link Karibo. Now we can go normal summon Oak, Oak F, reviving the Poplar in the graveyard. Now we're going to use Oak, send itself away with the Poplar to summon out the Flamberge. Yeah, here we don't typically, or here we don't really, rather, need to use the Dark Magician of Destruction as a level 8, but again, there's no reason not to search it up here. Or rather, summon it and search up Magician Souls. Cupsy Yummy Way will, of course, be discarding the Fulos as we go to add some more Yummy monsters. And then we're going to make the Baron de Fleur. Someone in the comments of the most recent video I posted of this actually made a really, really good suggestion, saying that instead of using Rasila and then 2 LZs to make Baron, I could use Rasila plus just LZ Azamina and make Borreload, and then I could even send away the monster equipped with Borreload if I need to later, or equipped to Borreload rather, because Borreload gets the negate as long as it keeps the counter, not the equipped card. I really, really like that, and I think I'd like to switch up the combo line to incorporate that. So thank you to the person who suggested that. Sorry, I should have looked at your username first, but no, that was a really good suggestion, which I like quite a bit. Especially because, again, I don't think we need to go 6+2+2 to make Baron. As we've seen literally every game so far in this video, you can do the combo line in such a way where you're doing 2+8 in order to make the Baron de Fleur. The thing is, I was talking about adding Mitsurugi earlier. We already barely have enough room for the end board we're making. We definitely don't have enough room for Mitsurugi as well. So I don't think that's necessarily optimal. I just think it'd be funny. So here we're getting hit with another Super Poly. This time fusing away our Yummy monster and our Herald. Of course, we can use the Elf to revive the Yummy monster. But we do lose out on the Herald, Floodgate effect, and Negate. They're going to move to battle phase and battle over IP. That's completely fine with me. I don't care about that at all. And then they're just going to make the Typhone on top of that. Also completely fine with me. Yeah, so they'll end up bouncing the Baron, but I'm going to chain the Lollipop Yummy Way effect here. That way we can start setting up like a Yummy OTK going into our turn. We'll bring back the Cookie Yummy, so they can put back Baron, but Cookie Yummy is going to pop the Typhone. And then we can even go back into the Lollipop Yummy Way during our opponent's turn, because we haven't actually used the Revive effect on this turn. And then we can start bringing back even more Yummy monsters. Do I not have Marshmallow? Oh, I don't have Marshmallow in the graveyard. Okay, that makes sense. Here's a Marshmallow. Revive, normal summon, and we'll just move to battle phase. They are going to have Super Poly, though, which is a little bit scary. They confuse away for the Garura. It's really scary in the sense of, like, I might not be able to OTK this turn, but I actually think I still can, right? Because we revive Lollipo here, battle over Garura, and then the Lollipo being on the board, yeah, it boosts the rest of my Yummy monsters enough to still OTK by attacking directly with all of them, plus Sprite Elf. So even though we got hit with double Super Poly that game, we were still more than capable of finishing them off on the follow-up turn. So there we go. There's that game. Let me show you the deck list now, and then we will finish off. All right, so here's Azamina, Snake Eye, Yummy. It's the same list I've been playing. So the combo guide that I have linked in the description below for this variant is still very much one-to-one applicable here. Like I said, I have just been having so much fun messing around with this build that's the main reason why I haven't really updated it. I've just been having fun playing it. But like I said before, I have been considering adding the Mitsurugi engine. Of course, we have been using Herald of the Arclight to get Illusion of Chaos to grab the Magician Souls, but we summon Diabellstar and activate spell cards very consistently with our turn 1 combo line, so accessing Dark Magician Destruction is not really an if, but more of a when, assuming we don't get like hand trapped and stuff, right? So that's kind of what's sort of making me think like I could definitely be adding a better ritual card here. And also, as that one commenter suggested, we don't even have to play Elzed of the White Forest. We could just be playing the Borreload Savage Dragon, making that with Rasila plus Elzed Azamina. That puts an Omni-Negate on the board that equips one of our Link monsters, right? And then from there, we can even send the Link monster away for something like Diabellstar, and the Borreload will keep its counter and still be able to Omni-Negate. Plus, then we can do Borreload and Baron, adding yet another negate to our end board. You know, honestly, between Borreload, Baron, Herald, Ilia Sylvia, and the Silvera, you could very easily end up making 5 Omni-Negates on the end board, which is obviously insane. Nothing is going to be able to stop that, really, barring something like Super Poly or Forbidden Droplet, which can't be responded to. All in all, there's a lot to explore here, and I'm very eager to keep exploring it. So, thank you for being patient, as I've just been uploading a lot of this pile deck lately. We do have the new pack release, which I don't know when exactly this video is going out, so it's either probably going to happen soon or has happened recently. At the time I'm recording this, it hasn't really even been announced yet, but I'm just assuming there's going to be one in the next upcoming week. So hopefully that has managed to tide you over if you weren't super interested in this pile. But for those who are interested in it, really want to thank you for supporting the content. This is one of those where I'm not making it for the views. I'm just making these videos because I really, really like this deck. So really appreciate the support. Thank you, as always, for watching. For the time being, though, that's going to do it. So let's move on to our outro, where we can thank our YouTube members and Patreon subscribers. Hey everybody, Hexlex here. Thank you so very much for watching all the way to the very end of the video, which, by the way, is one of the best ways to support the channel. Speaking of supporting the channel, take a look at the names on screen. These are folks who have been so generous as to either join as a YouTube member or subscribe over on patreon.com/Hexlex to support. There's also perks for doing so. If you would like to see YouTube videos early, as well as some exclusive videos that get uploaded to YouTube, but for one reason or another I decide not to publish, definitely go ahead and hit that join button to see content early, as well as some exclusive content. If you're looking for more exclusive content, over on patreon.com, I upload exclusive videos that are not posted on YouTube just about every single day. Whether you choose to subscribe over on Patreon, join as a YouTube member, or simply continue to watch, your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so very much. But for now, this is Hexlex. I am signing out, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.